Somebody was using my pictures, and this girl ended up falling in love, and he tried to propose to her over the phone, and she didn't think that it was really him, and so she hit me on Instagram, and then Catfish, they brought me to the show, and it ended up being some guy that looked nothing, of course nothing, but it's really sad because a lot of people are doing it, and girls are falling for it because they want to feel love.
Right.
To another episode of the African Millennials. So, to introduce today's topic, we're gonna have Jarrell. Sexy Jarrell. Yes,
Let's
girl.
see what we've got over here. Right? All right, guys, we got a good one here. It says, Dear AMS, do you think social media has affected our society negatively or positively?
Definitely positive.
Juno.
Everybody's taking a deep breath and now
Right. This one's from Juno from South Sudan.
Okay. Me personally, I believe overall, social media has had a positive impact on society.
Anyway, I feel like I agree with you. I think it's definitely like more positive than negative because look at you have to see it like beside the whole you spend most of your time on social media and you just start envying these people and fantasizing about those lifestyles. Also, social media bring us news like low-key. We've been knowing about stuff that the media don't really show. Like that's how you know about the girls in DC that has been missing, those 14 girls and all that stuff. Like I feel like it's also a way for us to be aware with other people and what's happening. So overall, that's like positive.
Go ahead.
I would say I think it's 50-50. I think it's what you use it for. I think on the negative aspect of it, people don't know how to talk to people in general anymore.
Right.
Like people stay on their phone 24/7. They don't have real communications with people. And then, especially with like Instagram, it's not even their real life. They're faking a life through pictures. It's something that they're not even really living on a day-to-day. No. Everything I am is real, but a lot of people. A lot of people, what ends up happening is I see a car. Let me take a picture in front of it. It's a Mercedes. That's not your car.
But who said that was my car? I never said if.
So why are you flexing your car?
It's implied.
No, it's not. If I'm taking a picture in front of a nice, BMW or whatever, it doesn't mean that's my car. I'm just taking a picture in front of a nice.
I agree with your point. I just feel like social media is so frivolous and inconsequential to life. I think that the same way when, phones came out for the first time, was it good or was it bad? I don't know. Did it add or did it take? I think social media is just something that's fun. I think it's something that will develop. It's there for the time. But is it good or is it bad? I don't know. It's pros and cons.
Some people make their livelihood based off social media.
Right, but should they? Do they have the real talent? Like, there's makeup artists that are popping up that are not licensed, that aren't real, like that's not their talent. There's quote unquote models popping up.
There's a lot of people that get paid that aren't talented.
Exactly.
But it's not.
But it's because of social media. It's like Kim Kardashian. That's you know what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, like it's building. But social media, though, it's spread through social media.
That was a very private home video.
It was spread through social media.
That was orchestrated through the media, not social media.
and spread after
No,
that.
it wasn't even spread
But
through social
social
media. It was
media
spread through
made
the
it
media.
viral.
Right.
Yeah, it went through
No,
the media, not social media.
What made it go viral? Not
It
social
was,
media.
yeah, it was social media
This
wasn't
is
popping
before-
like that.
So
yeah.
what's considered social media?
Instagram, Twitter,
YouTube.
Facebook,
Facebook.
YouTube, Snapchat,
Yeah, input
Twitch.
and output, like from both
Any type of
ends.
media.
It's about
It's
platforms.
also media.
It's about platforms. It's an extension of media.
Media
Right.
where
Yeah.
you interact with other people in the
Social,
community.
right.
The rest of the
Social interaction.
Yeah, first of all, we're all guilty of it, right? Because if
That's what y'all say. It's like a-
no, those people that have social media, they get paid and they're not talented. You have a 9 to 5 job, I'm sure, or you have some side hustle on the side that you also promote on your social
I'm
media.
definitely gonna maximize
right?
money. If
so
I can make a
of
coin,
course
I'll
that's
do
also
it.
a way for you to get your coins and get your money. Social media has helped me, get jobs, get money, get promoted by others, and also get my page out there. So it has been so far for me positive.
I mean, I definitely think that social media has been conducive to development of our society, because think about it, especially I think those past 4 years, how social media, I mean celebrities and athletes have actually took a stand and sort of took that platform to sort of create awareness,
yes.
especially about racism
Right.
and
Agreed.
my man Kaepernick,
That's your man?
yeah,
That's your man?
yeah.
That's your man?
I mean,
No, that's your man.
no, I mean saying that
That's your
I
man.
sort of extol,
Hey.
what he does.
Right.
I really like it,
Absolutely agree
I
with
just
that.
feel
I agree with you,
like
though.
I agree with you, and I feel like I'm so sorry to cut you off, but I feel like it helps those like a lot of the causes we like believe in or followed suit on has all. I think most of them started from social media.
For the most part, yeah.
Me
Ice
too.
Bucket Challenge.
The kid that got killed in Alabama.
Yes.
When I can't remember the city, but when it all started with the riots and everything we found out through Twitter. It wasn't through the news because they obviously have to filter certain things. And
Ferguson.
Ferguson, exactly. And then when things are going on back home, we find out through social media because again, it's controlled through the news. So I
Bring
think
Back Our Girls.
Bring
all that
Back
stuff
Our
happens
Girls
on
Right.
social
was
media.
really big on Twitter.
Absolutely.
So it is what you take
Even
from
Black
it.
Lives
So I
Matter
feel like
was also pretty big.
It'll look like whoever you are, like just gets bigger on social media. If you're a quiet person, you can be quiet and just lurk. If you're somebody that wants attention, you can find the attention online. So, but I don't see what's bad in it.
yeah.
And this is why.
Yeah.
I don't think it creates something in you.
It's people.
I think that
it's people using
it amplifies something that's
So
within. Yes.
you are who you are previous to
Yes.
this. You know what I mean?
Facts,
So now
yes.
you can find out who you are on social media
Right.
based off what people are doing. If someone's doing makeup and you have an interest in it, you can follow suit. If someone's doing some creepy thing, then you can follow suit.
Right.
It doesn't create it.
But see, based off of that point, though, I feel like I agree with everything that everyone has said thus far, but I think that on that line, social media then it's not a matter of good or bad. It's ultimately an entertainment product, and you take what you want from it.
Absolutely.
I think it has detrimental consequences that I cannot ignore, though. For example, like social media acts as a reward system, a constant one that you can access, right?
Correct,
And we don't realize as humans how much
It sets the program.
it does program you, like
Your
you.
endorphins
But I'm just saying, but it's a
restructure
constant
themselves.
one. It's a constant one that you're always accessing.
Likes,
The likes,
follows.
the
TV too.
follows, the posts, everything.
You
And
celebrate them things.
Yes, and you're rewarded, and then but you also feel bad when you're not being rewarded. You understand that maybe something is not as good, and you look to fault to the stuff. I mean, anxiety, depression, stress are the number 3 stressors in college. I mean, the generation that uses social media the most, and that's all been study-wise linked to social media.
Because it's about outside sources trying to tell you that you're good or that you're
Yes.
good enough,
Right.
Yes.
or this person's living that life. And it's just like,
Yes.
well, I can't do
But
that.
it's about motivation. I don't think you fantasize or envy. I think
But
for
if
me,
you
it
post a
motivates
picture-
me to
if
be
you post
better.
a picture and you don't get a lot of likes, as
I'm fine
you
with
usually
that.
do, it will feel like, okay, maybe the picture isn't that good, or they're hating on me. There's a reaction.
It's
to
okay.
that.
If you put yourself out there, your true self, or
fake self.
facade of
Right.
yourself, but then you get those people that come on there and the trolls, of course, all these horrible
bullying,
comments,
yes, sure.
Yes.
and people have been killing themselves. Kids
But the
have
great
been
thing about it
killing
is you can log
themselves
off.
over.
You don't have to stay in there. You can always log off,
I agree
delete
with what
your account.
I agree with what everyone's saying. They're making all great points, and they're all applicable. That logging off part that you're saying, not everyone has the
That control?
ability psychologically to control themselves in order to log out.
So you
They're
should not have a
hooked.
social media.
I hear you, and that's great. As someone that you claim to have that much self-control to log out if you're being bullied for years on end if you're on social media. Some people have that subculture, some people don't. But you can't really expect everyone to be able to just log out when they're wired
If
to a
you're
system.
constantly seeing people,
Can you log out of fashion if somebody tells you that you're not a good model? Can you just log out?
but that's not the same thing.
It's the same, it's the
it's not
same
the
thing.
same
Some
thing.
people look at
We're
social
talking
media.
about people
Some people look
bullying to the point of suicide.
But some people are hooked into social media that much that literally that's all they think about.
Okay, if they can't do it on their own, I think somebody else and the intervention should happen.
I
And
agree-
people
I
from
agree
the
with you.
outside.
Kids don't
I'm
talk.
agreeing with you, but I'm just saying
That's the
severe
issue.
Yeah,
a lot
people
of
don't
kids
talk.
don't
They don't talk about the problems
Yeah.
they're going through, so you don't know if someone's
Yep.
battling depression based off of
Absolutely.
social media or even being bullied on social media.
Absolutely.
Social
I
media
think
social media has changed the way people
So
communicate.
this is why I say like overall I think it's positive because like even all the issues that we're saying that are the negatives can also be like managed or addressed through social media.
I agree.
Like
True.
for example, like the positives for me is okay. And it comes out as a double-edged sword. Like I'm an entrepreneur, so I use social media to promote like my business and the things that I do. And also as an African entrepreneur, like it also gives me the access to the clients that I probably wouldn't have
Absolutely.
with offline.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm
Yes.
saying? So and it allows me to like create these images and to create like an image of Africa or the image of my brand that I want to do that maybe offline I wouldn't have the money, the resources, or the access
I agree.
to.
Right.
Yeah.
However, there are people that are not as talented as I am and maybe do have more followers than me just because the people that either wear them or like just the way they go about promoting their stuff. But that just goes into like
That's still a good
marketing
thing.
and and that's always
You can learn from them.
exactly. Social media has helped me with my business. Like I am a designer and I also do like PR communications work. So social media has definitely helped me like reach out to people that like traditionally I'll have to had like email or go through this person to put in a word for this person or like just expose my work to people that are like looking for designers or just into fashion. So it's definitely helped me a lot.
Two great points, especially because what I do, but my 9 to 5 is dealing with social media influencers, all that
Right.
stuff. So I see both sides. I see the entrepreneurs that are on the grind. They're doing everything real. They're not, fluffing anything. They're not buying anything. They're putting their product out. Everything's going organically on its own, and they're eating. Then there's some people that aren't as talented, don't have a following, but they somehow package themselves in a way that they're marketable. They're more marketable than the person that's actually hustling, doing everything organically. And so they get the bigger looks, they get the bigger checks, they get the bigger opportunities with the brands. Boom. And my job is to be able to look at everyone and say, okay, why is this person valuable in the marketplace? Why is this person valuable to the brand that I'm working with? Why is this person valuable to their following? Do they actually have a real following? So like, it really kind of depends. Like, it's all subjective.
I like
Yeah.
that though.
And
I like that because nothing is promised. Because I think as a talented person or a creative, you get to see other creatives that aren't doing as well. You know, because at times you just feel like things are promised to you, and you're exposed to so much more. Like you can follow somebody that has 20 followers, and you think is more talented than someone that has 1,000 followers, and it should inspire you. So I think it opens you to this world, and you take what you want from it. Because there are people getting discovered off like a post they just made joking. Like a lot of people on the Cannon show are people who made
they cast
And those
through
are
Instagram.
talented people.
yeah,
Right.
they
They
just
cast
made
everyone on
they
Wild
made
Now through Instagram.
videos, and previous to social media, they wouldn't be discovered because it's like
They
what
don't have
platform
Exactly.
who
That's
supports you. You
Right.
gotta go through the rounds and kiss the wrong person's behind to try to make it up there. But this
It's
you're
leveled
able-
the playing field for a lot of people.
exactly. So
Yes,
But with
however-
there comes new
however-
problems with that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes, the playing field has been definitely leveled for everyone because of the internet. 20 years ago, you had to, like, if you wanted to be in the automotive industry, you wanted to work with cars, you had to move to Detroit. You had to be in a place where there were predominantly, there were places for specific parts of industries that you wanted to work in. If you wanted to build tires, you would, if you wanted to, work with leather, you would go to Connecticut and work at a factory or whatever. There's just specific places, and that comes from like the industrial. I think we're talking about different eras of culture where like there was industrialization. Well, now we live in a post-industrialized country where all those norms from before don't apply now. I can be in Florida and start a swimsuit brand, you know what I'm saying? And I can be from Alaska and start a swimsuit brand, and my swimsuit brand from Alaska can do better than the swimsuit brand in Florida. Alaska doesn't even have like beaches. Like, so me making a swimsuit brand, what gives me the expertise being from Alaska, right? But because there's this globalization, now. I can be from anywhere and do anything because I can pick up from other brands that are doing stuff and apply it to my own brand. So it definitely applies to the playing field being leveled for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's leveled the playing field in a way, and it could be, some people could say it's unfair because if I, like, even for the whole modeling industry, there's people that go to go-sees, that practice how to walk, that know what they're doing. And then they don't, just because you
Market
posted that
themselves
one picture that like got you viral, and you might not even know how to walk the runway the way I know, because I've been trained, you know what I mean? So it has its pros and its cons, but at the end of the day, the person that would have never gotten that exposure
has a look now.
Has a look now because of social
I
media.
feel the same way, I mean, even coming from the music industry, I feel the same way. When I was coming up very early, you couldn't just be home on your laptop and make a beat. You couldn't just be in your bedroom and record a song and it be an Afrobeats hit. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't do that. You had to go to a studio. You had to pay $1,000 for studio time. You had to find somebody that could do your PR to make sure that all the magazines before blogs were picking it up. You had to make sure that you made the relationships with the engineers and everybody. But now the playing field has been so leveled. Literally, my little brother can make a beat tomorrow, DM it on Twitter to Travis Scott, and now my little brother's making $1 million.
Speak from a personal point though, just to say, like, I love all of this, right? Like, I also love how social media has just in general brought representation. I can see more women that look like me and be inspired by that.
Empowerment.
But empowerment, exactly. But in that same breath, don't get me wrong, I don't attribute social media to my depression, but I definitely think that it impacted me a lot, especially when I'm still like going through it and going through therapy and trying to get better. But it definitely set me back because I felt like there were times where it's like I'm going to follow all of these amazing women that are inspiring to me and all of that, but I'm comparing their highlights of their life with the low of me being in bed staring at you, wishing that I was where you are. You know what I'm saying? And so don't get me wrong, like, you can have a healthy relationship with social media. You can see it and be like, oh, this is fine, whatever. But you have to create boundaries for yourself, and you need to be aware of it. And I think that we're so accustomed to just taking in whatever is coming out at this point that you don't even realize it. I mean, there was a point that my mom told me where it's like, she's like, you are what you consume. If you telling me that you are this and that, but you watch Love and Hip Hop all day, you're gonna see, you're going to, whether you notice it, exactly. And so same thing with social media. Like, you need to, when you're following all those profiles on Instagram, you have to curate. Give yourself a balance of what you're taking in. Otherwise, you'll get swallowed with the wealth of the rich people and et cetera, et cetera. In terms of boundaries, I think that what's really helped me is creating a balance as to what I was following. There was a time where all I was following were, quote, bad bitches on Instagram. So you only getting a sports bra and booty shorts and that's it. And like, you know, I was just taking in everything that I thought was, you know, the highest form of beauty or et cetera, et cetera. And I had to restructure the whole thing. So I started following people that are politically and socially motivated, but also aware of just the world so that I could also stay informed. I changed up the fashion looks. I wasn't not doing the bad bitch looks no more, you know, appreciate y'all. But I started, you know, looking to African fashion designers and relating a little bit more with them. But also just, you know, including some of the gossip and stuff like that, just to give myself a well-balanced timeline.
Right.
Agreed.
Like
my personal social media like activity is different than my professional social media activity.
Right.
Like I don't like when it's the business page, like it's the business page. I'm posting what I'm doing, whatever. Like I'm liking what I have to like, and also like for in the business world, like you do have to like people, you have to follow people that you may not want to follow, just to like keep up and like comment on things or whatever. Like on my personal, like I post and sometimes I disappear because it's healthy.
Yes.
Like I disappear because
Speaking on that, what do you think is a good amount of time to be on social media? Like how much time a day? Yeah. Like
well, I don't know about that, but I know that I've learned that I shouldn't start my mornings with that
That's
being
a
the
good
first
one,
thing.
yeah.
My phone used to always be next to me, and the first thing I would check were my notifications.
Yeah.
No, like start your day off doing something differently so that you can take
very
in
true.
and understand
I
everything
think
else.
that when your social media starts to affect your life, like any addiction, right?
Yes.
Like when you're missing school or your relationships are affected. I think that's when you need to start
right,
reevaluating.
'Cause you can't control
like,
it no more.
What's going on with this whole social
But-
media thing?
You know that you're affected by social media when it consumes you, when it takes over your life, when it affects your relationships, when your day-to-day life is changed and challenged because of social media. That's how you know you got a problem.
It also depends on what you do. Like, what do you use
Right.
social media for?
Right.
Because if you're a
Exactly.
business, if you're
I was
like,
gonna
I don't have the luxury of like my phone is always on me. I don't have the luxury of leaving my phone across the room for 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. I literally get anxiety if my phone is not with me for a while, and it's because of what I do, right? But there's people that don't really use social media that much. It's not bringing them any bread, so they don't really need to be on. It's a luxury to them, right?
Do you
And
guys-
they recognize that. So I mean, they could be off of it for a month and it won't really affect. They could deactivate their pages if they want to. Some people don't have that luxury, so it's a little different. I would say because of my profession, it could be. I mean, if I wasn't in the profession I'm in, it would definitely be considered an addiction. The amount of times that I scroll and refresh and get alerts and get an email that I have to respond to or a check that I have to clear or whatever the case is, if I wasn't in my profession, it would definitely be considered an addiction, for sure.
So, I mean, I wanted to ask, do you guys think that social media has changed from, the period of, I-5 and stuff like that from now? Do you think that you guys notice a change? Or?
I say MySpace,
At first, like, it was
I'm not worried about Tom being my friend.
Absolutely.
At first, it was to connect,
Yeah.
But
Right.
now-
Yeah.
And not everybody's connected.
Yeah, but once people started making bread with it and people
That's
started
right, yeah.
getting some with it and, whatever it is, then it's
What is some?
some more friends.
I was making sure.
No, but once you break through that and their successes and their failures, you start to see what exactly you can, make
Use
the
it
most
for.
out of
Right.
it. I run multiple businesses, so my social media and I
Big
are
daddy.
like connected, like my
Right.
emails, my, notifications. Like if I miss something by 10 minutes, it could just be like somebody else gets a gig or I'm late to it, apologizing, telling a story. So it's different,
Yeah.
I have to start my day with mine because it plans out my day. Like I go through my email and it's like,
Mine
okay,
too.
visit this person, pick this up, then go to work, come back, like it plans the day out. But if it's not, if you're keeping up tabs that's not necessarily profiting in any kind of way
giving you a
or
check.
making your day better, then I think you should control the hours. Because like he was saying, people's like actual ability to converse and make friends and just look somebody in the eye and have a conversation without using a hashtag or a catchphrase from a TV show, it's like
Or
shot.
being in a club and actually enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
The first thing they
Yeah.
want to do is take a picture. So I recently just went to a club called Tao, and I had this epiphany where everybody's at their bottles at their tables with the bottles and popping bottles, but no one's actually dancing. No one's having a good time. Everyone's taking selfies and on Instagram, or like they're not even talking with each other. And so I think a lot of social injustices are happening even from like being on the train. No one talks to anybody anymore. They don't even want to look at you. They use their phone as a distraction to listen to music so that they don't have to either look at you or even interact. As a human being, I think that we're losing a lot of the things that come as a blessing with being social with other people, the things that we can learn, as well as the people that we may meet. You never know who you're sitting next to.
Like social
How many
network
times
has
you-
destroyed nightlife. I think
How many
social
times you
network
go
has
in
destroyed
public
nightlife
and you
completely.
see a situation where people are supposed to enjoy
That's
whatever
the
they're
one we
doing.
go out, say,
And
let's
people
put our
have their
phones on the
phones out.
table.
People have I've seen iPads out.
Yes.
I
Oh,
hate
no, that's
it.
the
With the flash.
I've seen iPads out.
phone like this.
Too. I hate like when you're hanging out whenever and people are like snapping pictures all the time. It's like
I get
no.
annoyed,
Do
but
you
the
notice-
whole night, it's like,
Do you notice that like
We could all just be like this. As soon as somebody puts their phone out,
you would not have that much fun?
Realize how psychologically affected they are by social media.
Right,
And
yes.
to the extent of people will deny it. Like I'm not social media. I can take off whenever I want. I'm not insecure.
I really
everybody
can't,
everybody that's on social media that puts a picture up that's concerned about likes, that's concerned about comments, that's concerned about all this stuff
Even the ones
is
that
a little
don't.
bit insecure.
Even the ones that don't, they be
Even
like,
the ones that don't.
I
They
know
don't even
people
know it.
that don't post and they reply to a lot of things. I'm like, you're always
'Cause
here.
they wanna keep
they're
up.
always on, but
It's
they
called
don't.
FOMO, fear of missing out. They don't want to miss
my
out on
God,
anything.
yeah.
They want to be.
I think it's creepy when people just don't post, don't share, but have so much input on what you post and share. It's like it's not really a level playing field. Like they're just looking out the window, speaking on your personal life while theirs is private. So it's a little creepy when people do that.
Essentially, social media stands as a social currency.
Yes.
If you're not aware of what's going on, if you don't have followers, et cetera, that all plays in part as to now your value. I've had
jobs now.
I've
Yeah,
reached
you
out
hired
to
them.
I've reached out to
Yeah.
photographers to just sort of like build content for my blog and stuff, and they'll be like, okay, I want to collab, but you don't have a following, so what are you offering?
When I
what I'm
interview
saying?
people, I have to ask them who are your top 5 followers and why. What are some hashtags that you keep up on? Boom, boom, boom. Who are some brands that you think are killing it? Like I have to ask these questions because I can tell how a person thinks by who they follow. I can easily.
Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? Who's your top 5 followers? I love my father, Jesus. My mother. She doesn't even have social media, but I follow her.
No, you can find out.
No. My mother is not on social media, but I follow her. And then,
That's
Talking
interesting.
about family, I think one great thing about social media that I've definitely enjoyed being an African living in America is being able
Connecting.
to keep up with
FaceTime,
things that are
yeah.
happening back at
Absolutely.
home.
Right.
My nieces, my nephew, I have a nephew that I haven't been able to meet yet, but I see him on social media, I see pictures,
Absolutely.
and it's just great. It's like this wouldn't have been possible, without the social media.
I definitely get that. Like old friends, like from high
Right.
school.
Meet
and all that.
people,
Cool.
scrolling.
You know so many people.
That's what,
telling
but
you.
that's
all
what
of us
Facebook
can
is
relate to
for.
that. All of us
Not
can relate to
even.
that. Especially all of us African, some of us are first generation, some of us are second generation, but I think we can all agree that we have a connection to some of our family back home because of social media. I wouldn't even use Facebook if not for.
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know what WhatsApp is if not for my aunt in Nigeria going, I don't use iMessage, I use WhatsApp.
I think WhatsApp is gonna be like
Amazing.
it's
The
gonna
number
it's
one.
It is
the
the
number
number
one,
one.
and I also feel like it's the most powerful social
I
media
agree.
platform,
You could
Yeah.
FaceTime.
even more than
video chat.
Instagram,
No, I
because
think
like
it's WhatsApp than Twitter to me. Like when it comes to like influencers.
no, that's what I'm saying. Even more like I feel like WhatsApp.
I would think WhatsApp and Instagram, bro.
Instagram, me too.
I mean, social media has many different aspects. I mean, but let's keep it real. I mean, you've got a lot of things that are happening behind closed doors where you've got, people stalking people on Instagram.
Right.
People in DMs constantly like bugging people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can
Wait, people
block
get
them.
DMs?
Yes.
What is it?
Hacking your account.
No, I mean, I just feel like it does create a lot of doors for those people that are on the negative side of social
Because
media.
everybody have access to it.
They have access
And
to you now.
My,
Not
my
true.
sister, I have 2 nieces. They're 15 and 16. My sister will not allow them on social media, like on Instagram, like currently.
That's actually smart.
And
How
I'm like,
old should you be to be
Yeah,
on
I-
social
That's
media?
what I want to know.
That's a
I
good question.
feel like there should be a minimum age. Should be on
Yeah,
social
I
media.
agree with that.
I feel like
I
there's
think
no way they
16 is a
can
good
No,
age.
they can't. But I feel like they shouldn't. I feel like you should have a minimum amount of friends in real life before you can be allowed to
You should be
make.
required. You should be reminded by every platform. Go outside. Pick up a sport.
I remember
Pick up a
Nickelodeon at one
basketball.
point stopped showing their shows on TV so people could go out and play. Like I know Michelle
Yes.
Obama was a big fan of that.
I think
And-
16 years is a good
greatest
age.
thing
to,
she did.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
go out
even-
and play.
16 is a good age, I think, because you're already in high
How
school.
old?
16.
Oh.
I think you should be at least 16 because it's the age where you get to really have long-lasting friendship and really have friends. You start to really know who you are as a person. You have your own sense of style. So it's a great way for you to like explore who you are as a person and explore other people. If you're younger than that, it's just like you don't really need to be on social media. Like the only thing you're thinking about is hanging out with your friends and going to school. But once you start to be 16, 17, start working, you start meeting people, and social media will just naturally comes in your life. Sometimes it happens without even you knowing it. Like we do things without knowing that are affecting how we live, and sometimes could have an attachment to our social media platforms.
I don't even know. I would say
Expert on
14.
social media age. Thank you so
I'm
much.
not,
Because this-
that's
How
not-
long have you been on social media?
Since she was born.
I have been, no, your father. I have been on social media since I moved here.
Which is
13.
13.
Oh, really?
I don't think 13 or 14 is that bad though.
I don't even
And
know
that was
if
just
it should be an
Facebook,
age.
really.
Yeah,
That was just
I also
Facebook.
think age is an improper way to
Yeah.
kind of gauge because
No, there
maturity
should
level
be because you
isn't-
cannot control your kids.
but maturity
But-
isn't defined by age.
But how do you protect your kids?
No,
though? That's the other
That's
thing.
the other
That's the other thing.
You have
There's
to
a whole
check
lot
in.
going
These are
on.
this goes back to the point where you need to make sure that you're setting out enough time to actually converse with your child on a one-to-one intimate level and know where they're at with everything. Because I mean, even something like your destination or just where you are, right? My mom
Cracking
is
the
a
hell
big,
out
I
of
don't
my
know,
child.
facts.
Oh my
Listen,
God, I
my
can't
mom would
wait.
tell me all the time, listen, do not, whenever you traveling, don't tell anybody you're going to Ghana or, you know,
that's what my mom
yes,
said.
like Journey's
All
Mercies,
our-
right?
all of our
But-
parents did that.
Right? But suddenly you got the geotag that's letting you know I'm at JFK.
Oh,
you know
true.
what I'm saying?
location,
or
yeah.
my location.
I'll
And
take
suddenly
pictures
that's
at the airport.
yes, but I mean people have gotten killed because, you know, they
that's
let
true.
someone they
Location.
posted where they
And
were.
people get that.
Oh my goodness. I think the best way to protect your child is to communicate with them. Honestly, build a relationship or repertoire where you can go back and forth. They can feel comfortable speaking to you about something inappropriate that's happening in their comment section or in their DMs, et cetera, et cetera. But we also need to alert our kids, like, you don't need to post your location every time you're out. You know, keep some things to yourself, you know, give it a little bit of time. Just make sure that you're well informed and you understand what your kids are doing, who they're speaking to, and who they're interacting with, because that'll keep the open relationship and keep them safe.
People get their house robbed because they
Yes.
traveled and they're posting a different
Yes.
location. So
Yes.
that's
So that's a great point you make because everything you're saying leads to my next point. Everything that I kind of do is connected to that because when I travel a lot for work, boom. If I'm taking a picture of where I am, boom, I wait 3 hours usually after I leave the place to post that I was there. It's just, I'm just wired to do that. I don't even think about it. I just do it. I'll remember 5 hours
But
later,
a
oh shit, I was
16-year-old
here.
is not going to be
No,
thinking the
for
same way you
sure.
are.
But I feel
you
like
know?
some of
they
some-
want to be like, yo,
Sure.
I'm here.
But I feel like a lot of these things have kept me safe because I've seen people that have not done that and have been affected by not
Robbed,
being at.
beat up.
Yeah, I know. I have a homie that literally got his whole penthouse robbed because he posted on Instagram that he was in LA for the weekend and he came back and boom, they cleaned this whole thing out.
good looking.
You know what I'm saying?
Homie so
I
was
feel
like, thank
like-
God.
Thanks.
I feel like
A
before,
little roster of hey, this is what you should and shouldn't do on social media, do's and don'ts.
right? I feel like before you are able to sign up for an account, because it's super easy to sign up for an
It's
account.
very easy.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be something there that like before you can even go through that
Guidelines.
process, it's just some guidelines.
Guidelines and verification.
Yeah, and
Verify who you
verification.
are.
And-
Like,
The
But-
verification
and I
thing is
think-
hard
Yeah.
because you
Yes.
how can you verify that there's no way to verify an
Catfishes.
account online. There's just no way to do
I mean,
that.
but there are ways
Yeah,
that you can
places
you
upload
can put
ID
together some
and
type
all
of
that.
regulation.
something
Take a
that-
picture of your
Yeah,
ID.
social security on
until
it.
that thing
Not
gets hacked.
even just some guidelines, and also like if the social media, the owners of these social media accounts need to take into consideration like who the people that are trolling. Like if you're constantly like disrespecting people under the comments, like I get an opinion and then I get like people saying, oh, you should go and die, or like
Yeah.
just random things, just because like your account needs to be deleted because you
So,
could
but
be.
then how do you? But that's a lot to moderate.
That's my
you know what I'm
point.
saying?
Yeah,
Like,
but then
Moderate
there
comments,
has to
yeah.
be
verify
there
human.
has to be some
But
type
before-
of algorithm.
you could do
It
that before
can
you do
pop-
comments.
Correct, but they're both almost impossible to do. Is my point.
No,
Almost
there can be
think
some
they're
type of
profitable.
algorithm
I think they're
that
not
can
profitable, and that's why
That's
people,
the
yeah,
key.
they're not
Profitable,
profitable.
I
Those
think,
decisions,
yeah.
like monitoring that is not profitable. Thus, that's why social media whatevers are just not interested in putting in
I
the
agree
work
with you.
toward that, because you'll create an algorithm to make sure that whatever picture that was like 10 hours ago comes up first for whatever reason because it makes you more money.
Right.
But you don't want to put in the work to say,
You
oh,
want more
like let me
users.
save a life. Yeah.
The more users, even they create fake accounts half the time, so they you know they that have that
All the
number
platforms
Yeah,
system.
but
Yes.
All the platforms don't, you're right.
if you've posted like 10 hate comments or whatever, once Instagram keeps you from posting the 11th one, you're gonna change what you're gonna do.
They do that. A lot of platforms have rate.
Yeah,
they
they
have
take
rate
things
rate
down,
banning.
yeah.
So if you use certain words that are already like, they have like an internal. I mean, I'm probably saying too much right now, but they have like on the back end of like, for instance, Instagram. If you keep saying like things like very like slurs
Mm-hmm.
in a row, in a row, in a row, in a row, it could be any account. If Instagram flags your account, you cannot comment for maybe 3 days.
And
That's
they can block
great.
your phone.
That's
And then-
great,
and then
and
if it
I
happen- and then
agree
if-
with
and
that.
if they give your account back
They
and then
delete
you
your
do it
account.
again, they'll block you for a month.
Okay.
It happens.
I agree
Twitter
with that
just started
because
doing that, but Instagram's been doing that.
I agree
Some
with that
platforms are
because there's a
having
lot of people that are like really working hard on their craft or whatever they're doing, and it's like to see. No, it's not me, and specifically. It's not me specifically, but like. You know, even people that are getting comfortable with their bodies and posting pictures and like to see the comments. Like one thing I noticed about Instagram on like a personal level is that like it develops insecurities that you wouldn't have had, and it also but not as
kids are cruel. Like that's one thing.
Right. Negative comments, mostly like relating to the African millennials. I remember when the show first started and the title sequence came out. I haven't even spoken yet. Like, no one has known who I am yet. You just seeing me. They were like, that tsunami girl is annoying. Throw the girl with the pink hair away. That girl with the pink hair gotta go. Like, you don't know me yet. I haven't said a word yet. And you're already like throwing me away because of how I look. So like, that's one of those things. And not that it hurt me, I was laughing about it because, like, I'm probably better than you in real life anyway. But those comments give you that power to speak. And a part of me wanted to talk back, but then that's just giving them more of an opportunity to, like, you know, get their point across. So, yeah, it's that. And also, like, people stealing my work. People will repost your work and not give you credit. People won't tag you or like recreate something you do and not even say, oh, inspired by something. Like, it's just all of that. Like, it's different than social insecurities. Like, you can't filter a life. Like, you can't filter me in real life. But once I filter myself on a picture or do this and that, you have this assumption that this is how I am. A lot of girls, like a lot of high schoolers, they skip that doodle looking phase. Like, you know, like when we were growing up, we had that phase where we were just raw. You know what I mean? And because of YouTube and stuff with the edges are laid and everything, they skip that phase. So they don't have the luxury of like just using Vaseline to go to school. You know what I mean? It's different. It's different. Exactly. So it's different. And also like I was having a conversation with one of my friends and she's just like, I have to log off sometimes because I want to make sure like the ideas and the things that I post are authentic. Because when you're constantly being influenced by the same images, you're going to put out something that reflects that.
Yeah,
so sometimes it's good to log off and get inspired by life, nature, walking down a block and being inspired by real life things and not just right. Yes.
So let's bring it back to the dark side of social media and Instagram. I mean, what do you guys think are some of the downfalls and the things?
I feel like, and catfishing, like people, and that's actually a show. Shout out to Catfish on MTV.
Which I've actually been on, so I do
you
understand.
Have?
Yeah.
What? Can you tell the story?
Somebody was using my pictures, and this girl ended up falling in love. And he tried to propose to her over the phone, and she didn't think that it was really him, and so she hit me on Instagram. And then Catfish, they brought me to the show, and it ended up being some guy that looked nothing, of course nothing. But it's really sad because a lot of people are doing it, and girls are falling for it because they want to feel love. Girls or guys, they want to feel that love, and because they have that constant conversation, whether it's through social media or whether it's through
Did you
text,
feel flattered, or you were like disgusted by it?
I mean, you know, honestly, I felt bad for her. You know what I'm saying? Because she had invested her feelings in this and into who she thought was me, but it was somebody that was been lying the whole time. And so,
how did she find you? Through the
through
show?
Instagram. She found me through
Sometimes Google
Instagram.
pictures.
Yeah, so she found me through Instagram, and then so she hit me. She's like, "Hey, this guy's been sending me your pictures. You know, I've reached out to Catfish. Would you be interested in coming on the show?" And I guess probably the biggest downfall or the worst experience would be, you know, being catfished. It's not the first time that it's happened. There's been multiple profiles that I've found with, you know, my image posted, and I think, you know, some people think that might be flattering, but at the same time, you know, I definitely understand that as an image, it is a brand of you. So not knowing what these people are doing with your pictures or what they're telling people ultimately, you know, can destroy a brand that you're trying to create.
And going off that, like people not only they hide their image and their person, like who they are as a real person, but also they trying to, you know, take advantage of people from online, like taking
Scammers.
scamming monies,
scamming is
and
big, yeah.
it just is ridiculous. Even I had I watched a lot of like Lifetime movies, and I know that's also happened in real life where people like will reach out to young girls like pedophiles or meet me here, blah blah blah, and like crazy stories as kidnapping, raping. Yes, it happens in real life. Like I used to have an account called Meet Me, where it was like just to meet friends from all over the world. It's like pen pal.
Meetup.
Right.
Is it meetup.com?
I think something was like a long time ago, like when I was 14, 15. And I thought I was speaking to people from like all over the world, like from Brazil, Paris. And it's just a great way sometimes to just, if you had a little hard day at school, whatever, just want to be online and speak to a friend. You create friendship and something you think that's genuine. And then, sometimes they'd be like, okay, like you want to hang out and let's meet. That's scary because this is somebody that you've never seen before. You don't know what they look like. You don't even know who they are because you don't have that virtual lifestyle that they show to you. Mm-hmm. So for any young people out there, like really going out there in the real world, meeting these people offline, it's scary because a good percent of the time they're not who they pretend to be, and you never know who you're gonna be in the back of the car of. Like it's just crazy. So that's one of the dark sides for me.
Another dark side of social media. What about dating sites though?
Yeah.
And
I don't
couples.
believe in those.
No, I know, but what about couples or men cheating on female? There's a lot of married men or married women as well.
Cheating's gonna happen whether social media exists or didn't exist.
Yeah, but it's definitely made it a lot
easier.
Because now you're like, oh my God, this girl looks so good, so the grass is greener on the other side, and it's just imaging that you're constantly inundating yourself
That's
with.
why for men like us in these times are to be appreciated.
Jarrell, you testify this. But that's definitely one of the dark sides.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Fake booties. I mean, we can go
Speaking of fake news, there's a bunch of different, leaders
Right.
around the world right now that are
fake news.
only in power because of social media, right?
Yes.
Which
So-
should not be there.
powerful.
So what was that thing that came out recently with Cambridge Analytica?
Cambridge, I'm still in
So they
info from
they
Facebook. Personal
stole
information.
60,000. No, I don't remember how much.
Million.
No. They stole initially. What they did was they stole like a few 100,000 users, and then what they did was they developed an app where all the users they tapped agreed to share them all of their networks. That's how they were able to amass 30 million profiles.
Mm-hmm. What is this?
Cambridge Analytica. It was a tech startup or a company that was a shell corporation made by somebody that was part of Trump's camp. So they made a fake name for the company, hired a bunch of people, put them in a room, and said, hey, now develop an app that can parse through Facebook info. Have people agree to give us their data. People don't read terms and conditions online ever.
Yeah.
That's another thing that people never talk about. People never read terms and conditions, so they don't be knowing what they be signing up to.
Yes.
They be agreeing to downloading apps and signing up for accounts.
Right.
Boom. So in the terms and conditions said, hey, we may go through your friends list and take the information of all your friends. So all these thousands of people yeah, that's fine, no problem, because they didn't read anything. So you only tapped 30,000 people, whatever, and now you have access to 30 million people. Everything. Every person you've ever talked to on Facebook, every app you've ever connected to your Facebook profile, and with Tinder, Bumble, all that. Any family you have, where you work, what your cell phone number is, what
That's
your email
crazy.
addresses
Everything
are,
is
where you
social-
went to
yeah,
school, any
I know,
piece of
it's so crazy
information.
because I was on Facebook one day and then they show my CM2, c'est quoi CM2?
Wow.
Yeah, middle school, but like,
Wow.
what is like 6th grade or 4th grade? My fourth grade teacher in middle school.
No, yeah.
And I'm like, how do you know that was
Because
it's so crazy. And I feel like when you Google,
every computer now is built in with a microphone. Every computer is now built with a camera.
Yeah.
Facebook, in their terms and conditions, they actually have access to your microphone and your camera at any time, whether you're logged in or whether you're logged out.
That's scary.
So if you're using any browser, Facebook has the right to turn on your camera, turn on your microphone, listen to
use
anything you're doing, watch anything you're doing through your camera,
Wow.
save it, and when you log
You're
back in,
never safe
when,
online.
when you log back in, boom, goes right to
Never
Facebook.
safe online.
Let
That's
me
right.
tell you,
Go
like
ahead.
And
one
that's
thing.
if you have the app, that's if you're on the site, all that.
So like in advertising, like right now, like the world is going like digital,
Absolutely.
and information is the most valuable asset.
Right.
Like in the world, like
That's how they
your
elected the-
personal
that's how they elected the
any
president.
information, exactly. So
president.
even
Your
whether
president.
it's politics, whether it's retail, whether it's anything, like people will pay a lot of money for information because
Absolutely.
with that information they can sell you anything.
Which is
So
why they do it. Which is
Right.
why all these shadow companies pop up, and what they do is they collect all your data and they just sell it to the highest bidder.
Right.
That's how
But
we
you
have.
know, I
That's why we
wonder-
have. That's why we have a president in a certain country. You know what I'm saying? That
I wonder
fake
if-
news propelled this person into the White House. There are definitely dark sides to social media. We can talk about communication standards depleting in the last decade or more. We can talk about fake news becoming prevalent in the last few years, especially with the Russian meddlings in the elections across the world, not just in America. We can talk about catfishing. We can talk about employment and job security being dependent on social media. People are losing their jobs over things they've posted 3 years ago. People are getting their jobs because they have 10,000 followers more than the person that is actually more qualified for the role that they're applying for. There's a bunch of dark sides that can be applicable for sure. To the White House.
I wonder if the same
And I
thing
heard-
back home too, though. Like, I
No,
don't
that's what I
think.
was gonna tell you.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I don't think back home is-
country is the same
it is,
company.
because that same company
They
that
took
was responsible for putting
Trump.
that president into your president into the White House. They were responsible for rigging elections in Kenya. They were responsible for rigging elections in Nigeria. Responsible
No, but
for
I'm
rigging
saying-
elections in Ghana. Responsible for rigging elections in the Ivory Coast.
I'm saying the social use, like, you know how we're always on our phone
Sure.
posting. I don't think kids back home are always on their
yes,
phone
they are.
posting.
Yes, they are.
Are they?
Then you know,
Yes,
then
they
you know what?
are.
You're not,
Listen,
you're not talking to kids
listen.
back home.
Because I know they have cyber
not
like
talking
cafe
to
where you
back
go
home.
on
No, let's
to
not-
smoke.
let's- it gets-
That's
that's
old
old
news.
You know a kid back
No,
home.
she hasn't been back home.
That's what I'm
so
saying.
I've
Yeah.
never been back.
It's so deep that when I went to Ghana and I went to is it the Amino Castle? Yes, right? We all know what that is.
No.
No.
You mean that castle? Yeah. It's in Kumasi.
It's in Cape Coast.
It's in Jordan.
Cape Coast, right? So we understand that the history behind it. I mean, that's where
The slaves?
slaves were
Yeah,
captive
okay.
and then shipped off before they went to America.
Yeah.
So I mean, Ghanaians are taking selfies.
Wow. Wow. She just took your face.
No, I mean, people are so invested in appearing that they look good or they're having fun.
Really?
That so much so that at the most historical place, I mean, there's
Yeah.
souls and spirits
There was
connected
some
to the water.
controversy about
Yes,
that.
yes. Like people are really. It's a date spot, and
It's
they're just
disrespectful.
Yeah.
taking selfies.
Well, I know
Remember,
in France at the museum you can't take
Pokemon Go.
pictures at the Louvre. So there's some places you
Yeah,
can't take
everywhere
pictures.
they're making
pictures
rules
at the
because it's
Louvre.
getting worse. That's-
Essentially, I feel like on a smaller scale, social media has genuinely affected my relationships, like my personal ones. I mean, the reason why I'm not on Facebook today is
yeah.
because of, you know what I'm saying, a boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend at the time. Like,
Really?
I posted some picture, or maybe there was some sort of conversation going on, and this guy made some sort of reference, I think, to my boobs. And I think I put like crying emojis or something
is
like
he
that.
alive?
Yes.
Everybody's dead.
Yes.
'Cause everybody would die.
Yes. But it's like, I mean, my man was so angry.
As he
Like,
should've been.
I mean, he just could not. And he also was upset with me. And I was like, well, if that's the case, you know, I'm just going to delete it and
That's
not
where
deal
was
with
wrong.
it.
You shouldn't have been upset with
I
that.
do. I
access to
mean,
your
but we've
profile?
seen
your
marriages
partner's
dissolve because of social media.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Years. I mean, people have been together for 10 to 15 years, but because I mean, some shorty from this side is like, oh,
She
I
fine.
posted some picture, like, oh, I'm with your dude.
Yeah.
Automatically,
all
you're
over.
kind of,
I
it's
can't
all
relate. I
over.
don't like pictures, so I can't
He
relate.
could
but
probably
quick
walk
thing.
by.
What was the question you
Focus.
asked?
I said, do you think your partner should have access to your social media?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
Not
What? So y'all not-
access,
'cause
like
I
my
al-
password? No. No, my man is not getting my password. Absolutely not. Listen, you know, you could get the passcode to the phone, but you're not getting no password to my social media. I'll let you know, stay ready. Don't be comfortable because so-and-so was coming for you. This is what he said, and this is what he said. But you're not going to go through my comments. You're not going through my social media. Sorry. That's toxic. And we're gonna go crazy. You're gonna read into things that aren't what they are. And I know I'm a flirty person. You gonna get confused. But listen, trust in me. You know what I'm saying? Relate to me, talk to me, and we'll be fine. I don't
But
mind
why
that,
is
but you're
that?
not gonna have my
Like,
password.
if you, it could be, but if you are open and honest about everything that you're doing, why does it hurt?
I couldn't give you my password
you're
to
open and
anything,
honest-
really, though.
If you're open and honest, if I feel like something inappropriate is going on in a relationship, I'm going to ask you first, hey, is there anything I need to know about? If I have a hunch, and Virgo teens,
Right, we yeah.
I'm gonna be like, first of all, if I ask you, I've already seen
I've already
evidence
know.
that
Right.
there's something.
No,
going
but
on.
it's like, should your partner have access to all your friends?
I think
No,
that's
I don't
a-
think they should, but I think if they want to inquire about something, they should not. If
I
they
think
choose
that's a
not
very
to trust
slippery
you, if they
slope,
choose not to
though.
trust you,
Because
how
it starts there, and I'm
Yeah.
talking from experience. It starts, oh, I'm just gonna check this, and the next thing you know, it's like it's getting deeper, and it's like, and then there's all of this
reading into stuff.
control that starts to
Yeah.
happen in
Right.
a relationship,
using the
and
wrong
that's
filter
That's
and your
the first thing
pictures.
to like an unhealthy relationship.
Right.
Where
Yeah,
it does
you,
lead to
yeah,
that. I
it's,
definitely
it's
see that.
definitely gonna
Do I think my partner should have my password to my social media? Listen, I have a very personal, story with that. I think it's a very slippery slope into, control, and I don't think it's a good idea. I know we all have our insecurities, and we're trying to figure out, is my loved one doing right by me? But you gotta have that trust, I think, and without it, relationships don't survive.
Like if you're in a relationship, my partner should not tell me what to post, or like, cause I post revealing things sometimes online, and
You saw that
not.
book, right?
No, that's not me. That's not me. We post some revealing stuff. I don't think my partner should tell me like, oh, you can't post this or you can't post that, because of course if I'm in a relationship, I'm definitely gonna present myself in a way where it's respectful to you, to me, and to our relationship.
But what if they say that they feel as though that's not respecting them?
Yeah, like they could have their own rule.
But then again,
way
it's
of life.
like for me, I make money off my social media. Like I make money. I got hired off social media. I had a modeling job because of my social media. So sometimes I'm posting because that's how I'm getting paid. It does not determine who I am as a girlfriend in a relationship.
Right, but posting a modeling picture and then posting overly sexual photos.
Yeah, that's different.
All right.
That
Really?
that was
A little.
which one you're talking about?
that?
You know,
That's-
like
That's
That-
wild.
no,
Yo, who's
that's-
I wonder who her boyfriend is.
No, first of all, I am celibate,
mean-
and second of all,
Celibacy has nothing to do with having a boyfriend.
I definitely think that over sexualized pictures on social media does perpetuate like a certain stereotype or
Right.
And let's be
preconceived
honest.
notion about who you are
Yep.
as a person.
All right, so I mean, it's a difference between like, posting modeling pictures and being like overly sexual. Let's be honest, like most of the pictures right now that are getting the most likes are
Kim
the overly
Kardashian's naked.
sexual
Show more
pictures.
skin.
So
That's just
more
what it
people
is,
are
yes.
doing it, and I mean, in our day and age, growing up, like when you look at pictures that you see in the past, like they're classy pictures.
They ain't
Now,
getting likes though.
right,
so-
exactly. Especially in this day and age, that people are all about the sexuality on Instagram and social media. And I'll be honest, I fall victim to it, and I do it on purpose to do a thirst trap because I know it does have a certain power that comes with it. And because I know that it's powerful, I'll use it to my advantage, not necessarily saying that it's right. But I mean, we've all seen it. You'll have a beautiful lady post a picture and she's in a nice dress, and then you have somebody like Kim Kardashian pops up and she's completely naked, and that's the latest trend. How naked can you get? Is it art? Is it fashion, or are you just being a sexual being? So, I definitely think it's also taking the mentality of what people look like to another level of what's considered sexy, what's considered hot, and what is the new norm for a sexy picture. Exactly. But let's be honest.
That's a problem.
Now as we get older,
though.
these pictures are still gonna be floating around. I'm like, oh well, this is the picture of your grandfather, and you half naked on the
But I
bed.
think
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
something
Like,
different.
Does your grandpa get them likes though?
He got
yeah, but
them
that,
likes.
at that time, it's not gonna matter for your brand at the end.
It is because we're talking about it in a way where we're referring to back in days, but there was no social media back then. The
Right.
norms are going to be different. We got to
Exactly.
realize that because the kids are going to be looking at the pics, they're going to be taking pics too.
But-
so global warming.
But wait, the
What?
thing is,
Global
the thing about that is that people tend to like disconnect the way you look with your personality.
Small-minded
like
people.
let me
Right.
like there was a picture
care about
that
them.
was posted on Mina TV on the African Millennials page for like around Valentine's Day, and it was about like talk about your ideal man. You understand? And then the picture that was posted of me was me in like a bodysuit and shorts, and it was a see-through. And I spoke about me wanting someone that like had faith and that a man of God.
the picture-
And then they're like, and then one of the comments was like, okay, I'm looking at what she's saying and I'm looking at the comment and it doesn't connect. But like, if you go on my social media, all my pictures are not me half naked. I know how to wear clothes and look good. Wow. You understand what I'm saying? But like that one picture shouldn't tell you like who that's not who I am.
That's not who you're gonna want anyway. So why does it matter?
But I'm saying it because of social media gives people the right to tell you that because you're wearing
anyway. You just get to hear it because they have social media. Yeah. So it's your choice. Because these people are, just because they're typing it to you doesn't mean they didn't think that way before they had access to type it to you.
Right.
So now it's just like, why care? Like,
it's not. You can't just say that. You can't just say that because if I'm not the strong person that I am, I'm gonna take that message and it's gonna affect me negatively.
But
I'm gonna internalize it.
Social media doesn't make you weaker. I don't think social media makes you weaker. Again, I think it's one of those things that it could either highlight you, whether good or bad, but I don't think like it makes you weaker. Now, do I believe you shouldn't be at social media at a younger age? Yes, but I don't think if you've developed as a person mentally, obviously not everybody online is mentally developed, but if you developed as a person, it doesn't make you weaker.
It can. If you're constantly hearing you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not this, you're not that, it's gonna drive you to think that you're not.
I'm getting from home.
You're right, but you have to understand, you guys are the same type of person. You are both strong people that both make money on social media, so you don't understand what it's like to be the opposite of that, someone with no real influence on social media, someone that doesn't use Instagram for any entrepreneurial purposes, someone that literally is at the mercy of their following to determine whether they're secure enough to go about their day without feeling anxiety or depression. Mm-hmm. There's completely different, self-esteem, completely different dynamics. Yes. So you can't. It's understandable that you can't fathom it because you're not that person.
I get that.
But if we had a room full of 13, 14, 15-year-olds that aren't social media celebrities, that aren't social media influential at all, and we ask them the same questions, everything Sanami's saying right now would be understood. They would understand it, and they would be able to even give you personal experiences that back up what Sanami's saying. You know what I'm saying? And they would hear what you're saying, and they would say, "How dare you? You actually make money. You think you understand because you're on social media. You're not a regular person." Mm-hmm. So for some people, they don't care. Like,
and that's the problem.
They look to you for that escape because they're living their own real life. So they look to the Kardashians and all these people as, "Oh, this is the security I wish I could have. This is the bread I wish I could have."
I get that, but at what point there has to be a median? And this is closest to the norm of how we should do things. There are always going to be extremes in every situation.
I agree, but a lot of times that medium won't come. For them, it won't come.
But we have to, as a society...
That education needs to come. No.
As a society, there has to be a middle.
I agrue with you.
Because now, if somebody's crazy and we make crazy normal, then normal becomes...
We're in America. We've already made that normal.
That's where I'm going with it. So if you make crazy normal, right?
Colors.
So when normal speaks, normal sounds crazy.
Correct.
We agree with that.
We are here
so now until we get a middle, right, where this is the closest to, everybody, like this is the middle, then we could point out, okay, you're far left, far right, fake news, whatever it is. Absolutely. But until we figure out what the middle is, because you could be someone that lives on social media. It doesn't have to be the way for everybody to live. Yes. And you could be somebody that lives outside of social media and has, like when people tell you, I don't have a TV at home, you're like, huh. They tell you that because they know it's different from what everyone else does. Yeah. And you could have someone that tells you I watch 20 hours of TV a day, and that's also not regular. Mm-hmm. So there has to be a 5-hour a day where it's like, okay, that's not too bad. So if we don't have a normal, then all this extra shit becomes normal.
I get what you're saying, but I feel like you're taking away like that. You're being too
there is no normal.
Too logical about the situation. Bao said social media doesn't make you weaker. And I feel like he's coming from kind of an insensitive place when he's saying that because I'm me and my skin is tough. So you can say whatever you want to say about me and that's different. Someone else, let's remember that social media, we encourage people to use social media to showcase their talent, showcase who you are. And if you're somebody that, okay, I want to showcase who I am too, but you don't get the positive reception that everyone else does, not that it makes you weaker, but it just discourages you because you see all these images and all these stories where, I use social media and it's my outlet and I love to dance and I love to do this, I love to do that. When you get those negative comments, it discourages you to move forward. It discourages you to like keep going. So yeah, it doesn't make you weaker, but having negative comments is not going to make you stronger and either. So I feel like he was coming kind of from a like insensitive place where it's like you don't know what that feels like. You don't know that side of things, so you can't really speak on it. So there's been so many suicides, there's been so many depressions of people trying to like be somebody or showcase who they really are, and people are just constantly like, no, you're not good enough, you're ugly, go home. Like, you know, so you can't really say, oh, it doesn't make you weaker because you don't know that point of view.
I think when you say normal, you mean like
Middle ground.
morally like leveled. And there is no moral level on the internet, bro.
Not morally. No.
Just to round up, I think that, I mean, everyone's sort of going back and forth as to what they think, but I think ultimately the argument sort of swayed to a point where it's in the position of the people that use the product.
Right.
And I think that we just all need to make sure that we get a grip on the way that we consume our media, keeping the mental checks, you know, consistent and at bay. And yeah, just doing the best that we can with social media.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks for watching, and if you liked this episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
After that, well, we should be, like, my thing would be looking like Christian.com type of Instagram. It'll be very clean, very professional. You'll be happy with the results. And the week after that, I'm changing my password back to what it was. No, I don't like that. It sounds bad and mean. No. I would never be in a relationship. I would never be in a relationship. I'll be forever.